Well, this is the last video in the release, and this is to do with a little bit about the program. It is, as I mentioned before, in 5 phases, and the first one is before the start of the cycle. And we deal with several things here using a mix of hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, and counselling. So I won't mention that again in the future phases. Everything is about hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, and counselling, and there are several types of psychotherapy, including visualization, etc., involved. Now, stress is the big issue pre-cycle. We want to address it, any anxiety, nerves, etc. But other big ones are smoking. Smoking and getting pregnant don't go well together, nor does drinking and getting pregnant. So anybody who's smoking, we help them to try and cut back and stop that if we can, and certainly drinking the same. Also, recreational drugs are very much out at this stage. We also look at relationship issues, because sometimes by the time women are going for IVF, they've been trying for some time, and it can take a toll on relationships, particularly if the woman gets the impression that the guy isn't taking it too seriously. Whereas in most times that I've interviewed the guys, it's like, I'm just trying to keep it chilled and I don't want to make things worse. But relationship issues can come out of all sort of things, so we help address those as well. The other things we deal with are grief from people who have had miscarriages, and quite often there is residual grief from miscarriages. And the final thing is anything to do with what we call imprints. Imprints are psychological impressions caused from a nasty experience earlier in the life, which could be having a subconscious impact on the capacity to get pregnant now. And they don't have to be bad things like abuse, etc. They could be simple things that you wouldn't even think were related, but because the subconscious mind thinks in emotional terms rather than literal terms, things can get cross-related in there. I won't go into the detail on that here, but there is a number on the bottom of the release, and if anyone wants to talk more about that, feel free to ring me. So once we've cleared all those stresses, we're into the cycle. People continue listening to audio programs and come in for therapy once or twice a week in that phase. And then we go to the pre-egg collection phase. And that is about giving strong suggestions, generally in hypnosis, dealing with any remaining anxiety through psychotherapy, strong suggestions in hypnotherapy to deal with the effectiveness of the drugs, strong visualization of healthy sized follicles with healthy eggs and all the body hormones and chemistry, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, all these sorts of things being in exactly the right proportions for a successful conception. Stage 3 is a very short phase or stage. It goes for the night before and the time of the implantation of the embryo. Now, the reason for that is a doctor called Eliyahu Levitas did some experimentation, because when the implements for inserting the embryo into the uterus are used, the uterus isn't used to things being put into it in that manner. So it kicks off mini vibrations. There's 3 layers of muscle in the uterus that are normally used for delivering a baby in childbirth. Those 3 layers of muscles, if something is inserted, vibrate in mini vibrations. And they found that some of the embryos were actually on the spatula, on some of the implements used, immediately after, sometimes immediately vibrated out of the uterus straight after the procedure. So Levitas, who was an Israeli, come up with an idea of putting people into hypnosis to calm that down during the transfer, and that worked successfully. The women in hypnosis had far more probability of getting pregnant than those who weren't in his rather large study. So we include that. We give them a hypnosis exercise, audio tape to take into the system. We've never come across a doctor yet who doesn't allow them to, and encourage in fact, the listening of that, and as soon as possible after the transfer, listen to it again. Now, perhaps the most difficult stage for a woman is stage 4 in our program, which is the time between when the embryo is transferred and when the pregnancy test is conducted. It's like all this anxiety about, am I pregnant, and they're starting to do P-tests far too early and all this. And the real worry about are they pregnant could in fact be contributing to them not being pregnant. So we want to keep them really calm in that phase. So we give them a lot of exercises to do. We teach them mindfulness, self-hypnosis, and we do hypnosis and psychotherapy and relaxation sessions with them. Now, once they're pregnant, the attention turns to the first trimester, and once again, it's just a pretty simple matter of regular sessions or home audio pretty much give us a call, come and see us if you need it, which is what it was during the trial session anyway, and basically keeping them calm during that first trimester period. The only other part in the program which isn't documented but we have to do is occasionally women are told that they'll never ever carry a child or carry to childbirth, and that's one of the toughest things for a couple, not just a woman to face. So if that is necessary, we'll give them the counselling to help them address the fact that they probably won't have children according to the medical professionals, and we help them come to the terms of seeing fulfilment in their life in other ways.